All right, so here we have the iPhone Air and the iPhone 17. So we're going to compare both of them, talk a little bit about them because there are some big differences. Main one, of course, being that the iPhone Air is a couple $100 more than the iPhone 17. And at the same time, you kind of get less for that. But here, let's first start off with the visuals of how different they're going to look. And here we have the black and white color, which are the only colors that are kind of offered in both. If you want to see all the other colors, I did take a look at them in my color comparison videos on the channel. But right off the bat, let me tell you some things that I don't like about the 17 Air and the black color specifically here. And that is that smudges and fingerprints are absolutely crazy on the space black right here. Oddly enough, on the normal 17, it's not. I think the difference might be the glass back here. They also do feel different when I touch them. This has more of a matte finish versus this one kind of my finger sticks a little bit more when I touch it. However, when they're both clean, I absolutely love the kind of jet black look that the Air has right here. Now we do have what Apple's calling here this camera plateau, and this is where most of the important kind of internals of the Air are. And it just looks super, super cool. I think it looks more modern, more new than what we've gotten with the iPhone 17 because of course the 17 kind of looks like the phones we've gotten in the past couple of years. So if you're tired of the same old, this is kind of the newest and coolest looking iPhone we've gotten in a long time. I think honestly ever since the iPhone 10 was announced. Now here real quick, let's see the two whites up close. And the white on the iPhone Air is significantly whiter. This one's a little bit more kind of, oddly enough, cloudy in a sense because this one's called cloud white and this one's just called white. But yeah, this one's more cloudy, a little bit more toned down, maybe less attention grabbing than the one on the Air. But the one on the Air really matches those titanium sides, which leads us to talking to materials because the Air is the only phone with titanium this year. Both the 17 and the 17 Pro have aluminum. So let me bring in my Pro over here. You can see here. So we have aluminum on the 17 and 17 Pro, and then that titanium here, which is glossy this year. So it kind of has more of that appearance of the stainless steel from a couple years ago versus the titanium that we have here from the past couple years, which was kind of a matte finish, which I do prefer the matte finish for fingerprints and everything. But for the Air, it does make this look even sleeker, and the way it reflects and everything, it kind of looks like jewelry. I really do like it. And I got to tell you, the feeling on it just feels so, so good. It feels premium in the hand. It has a nice feeling to it. Unlike the Pro and the 17, that definitely feel cheaper when you grab them. And to me, the cheapest feeling of them all is actually the Pro, oddly enough. But yeah, the Air just feels fantastic in the hand, and it feels $200 more expensive, if that makes sense. Now, does it look $200 more expensive? I think only because of the thinness and the kind of new age design. I think it does. Now, you could also see it as a Pro that the iPhone 17 does have aluminum because it doesn't attract smudges or anything, and that could look premium to you as well. So honestly, here it's just, you know, whatever you prefer really is going to make it feel more premium because they both do look great. Now, with that said, the best way to protect both of these devices is by using the screen protectors from our sponsor for today's video, ESR. They have this new Ultra Fit Armorite Pro screen protector for the iPhone 17, 17 Air, and Pro, and it comes with everything you could possibly need to install the screen protector super easily. So it comes with a total of 3 screen protectors, along with some wet wipes, microfiber cloths, some dust sticker removals, and the best part is that it's just super easy to install. All you gotta do is remove the protector to the screen protector, put your phone in here, close it up, and then we're just gonna pull this right here like this, and we're going to get a absolutely perfect install of the protector. Let's pull our phone out of here. And there you go. The screen protector is perfectly installed. It's 10 times stronger than generic screen protectors, and it uses glass by Corning, which is the maker of many of these phones' glass. My favorite thing is that it has black borders around to really make it a seamless fit. And now you can put your keys in your pocket and everything and not have to worry. You can see absolutely no scratches or anything. And it also has an anti-reflective coating for 94% clarity and only 2% of reflection. So make sure to check out the Armorite Pro screen protector down below in the description, and thanks to ESR for sponsoring this video. So we are only getting 1 camera lens on the Air and 2 on the 17 here. So let's go ahead and open the camera so I can show you. So we really get the 1x, that's the main lens, and it's the same lens on both of these. Then we get the 2x, which is just a 2 times kind of crop zoom, digital zoom on there. And when you take pictures with it, it still looks really good. I think Apple's using some sort of processing magic a little bit to make those look really, really good because there's times where I'll even go a little further than that, where I'll go like 6x and stuff, and I can see it process it, and then it ends up looking pretty dang good. So don't think that you don't have a zoom camera on this like the pros or anything, because you can actually zoom in quite a bit. You can zoom up to 10x on both of these, but once you take the picture, the processing does a lot of magic sometimes, and sometimes it turns out looking pretty good. So you kind of saw it there. Yeah, look at that. Let me turn down the brightness a little bit because you can't really see that. But yeah, you can see that. That's 10x right there, and you have pretty good detail. And you don't have that before the image processes. That's going to be the case on both of these. So if you want to have some zoom on there, you are going to still have some, and that processing magic is going to work really well in a lot of cases. Now, the real difference between these two right here is going to be the wide angle that you're not getting at all on the Air. So if you're, in a tight room or something, or you want to get a cool picture effect or anything like that, you're not going to get that on the Air. Now, if you're going to take a wide angle of a landscape or something like that, there is a little workaround on the Air, because if you go here, then use the wide angle camera on the front, you could turn it around and take a picture of the landscape like that and get a wide angle shot of maybe a room or something. And oddly enough, if you do that method, you actually get a higher quality picture than you do when you use the wide angle camera, because the wide angle camera hasn't been updated very much. Honestly, I don't think it's a big deal that it doesn't have it. Really, I do care actually more that it doesn't have macro mode at all, because I do like to take pictures of bugs and like macro photography sometimes of textures and stuff. And you do get that with the iPhone 17. So let's bring this real close here. And you do get the ability to kind of get close to a subject right there and get a macro shot there. And you can see you still get a lot of detail and stuff. So it's nice having that ability to get really close to food or something like that. And you do have that on the 17, but not on the Air. But it really just depends on your use case. If you don't use either of those, then there's no point there. That's not necessarily a negative, because everything else is still the same. Video is going to be 4K 30, 4K 60. You're going to get all the same video features. The new front-facing camera features are all going to be the same as well on both of these. So you can now record landscape while holding the phone portrait here. Same thing for pictures here. You can take a square picture here and just be holding it normal. So you're not missing out on any of the selfie screen or the selfie camera features, which is really, really nice. You also get the camera button on both of these. So again, not missing out on that either. Not the most useful thing. I wish you could configure it to something else, but it's there. Now, as far as performance and stuff, the Air has the A19 Pro chip, while the 17 has the A19 chip. However, this one isn't using the fully maxed out version like the one in the Pros is. And of course, it's going to be thermal throttled since the Pros have a vapor cooling chamber. So you're kind of getting quite similar performance on these. Now, if you're gaming for hours, if you start doing a bunch of things like crazy and really heat this phone up, it's going to bog down a little bit comparison to the 17, which is not, because of course it doesn't have the same heat limitations. It's also using aluminum, which cools the phone down better, according to Apple at least. But I do believe that because my Titanium Pro last year did overheat a lot of times. You could kind of think of the Air as a really thin Plus model, because you are still giving something up in comparison to a Pro model. But now let's talk about the biggest difference and the biggest pro for the Air here, and that is the larger screen. You get a larger screen while the phone is still lighter to hold, lighter in your pocket, and just, super slim and attractive looking. And this large screen is just fantastic. In my opinion, it's better than the Pro Max screen just because the Pro Max is a little bit too unwieldy and big. It doesn't fit in most pockets and most purse pockets. And every time I see someone using this, I always see them fumble around with the phone trying to reach things and everything. This one is still big. And if you're coming from a normal 16 or something like that, this is going to feel quite large. However, if you're coming from a Plus model or anything, you're going to feel right at home and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, and it's so thin and light, which is going to be just a matter of perspective, really, depending on the phone you had before. If you don't tend to like big phones, I think you're still not going to like the Air, unfortunately, because I have pretty big hands and I could just imagine someone with slightly smaller hands just having a hard time reaching everything. But if you just want a big screen and that's your main thing, I highly recommend you look at the Air, because the Pro Max, in my opinion, isn't worth lugging around all the time. Now, does the Air screen translate into actual benefit? Yes, it does. Editing videos on CapCut and stuff like that is going to be much better. You have a lot more space to work with. Looking at pictures and everything is going to look fantastic, especially with the glossy sides and how thin the phone is. It looks very magical and futuristic when you do that. And my favorite thing is gaming on this phone. Gaming on this phone just feels absolutely fantastic. It's like the perfect size. The biggest shame here while gaming, though, is the fact that we only have one speaker, and that just sucks because it is a little bit tinny when you kind of put it up higher. It's not ideal, like it's not horrible, but it's not great. It's doable, it's workable. Like if you want a bigger screen and you don't want to go down to the 17 because you don't want to lose the bigger screen, let's say you came from a Plus model, it's well worth the trade-off, I think. It's better to have a larger screen than it is to have the dual firing speakers, at least in my opinion. I think you can get more use out of it. You can always get AirPods, use your headphones, etc. when you want to hear good, audio. No speakers are going to compare it to like some AirPods and stuff like that anyway. But yeah, size-wise, it feels really good. Also, while gaming, the camera plateau feels really nice back here. It's like basically a little kind of grab point for your hands, which feels nice. Like my finger curls around it nicely. I can't say the same thing for the 17. It feels not as good in the hand, mainly because the camera gets in the way right here. And I do like to have the camera over here because over here, it feels weird to me. But yeah, right here, if I'm not the biggest fan of it. Same thing with the Pro models. They're not as great to grab because they have the thicker bar, but it's better than this. This is the worst one of the bunch for just kind of ergonomics here while gaming. The Air just feels fantastic in the hand. Also with the thinness and everything, it's just so nice. Now, of course, Apple sells a MagSafe battery for this. So let's go ahead and attach it. It adds quite a bit of heft to it. However, it feels really good once you add it, and it actually makes the phone even easier and nicer to hold because you can kind of grab it from the battery a little bit. And yeah, not too bad. Nice little battery. It's going to give you quite a bit of more battery life. I think it's like 40 plus hours now with the battery or whatever, but you're going to get over a day's use with the battery and easily a day with the normal battery. I've been using this phone for the past week and I've had no issues with it. No, I'm not playing like 2 or 3 hour gaming sessions on the Air, and I wouldn't do that if I did keep the Air because I know that's not the point of it. If you want to do that, you got to go 17 or 17 Pro. But yeah, gaming on the 17 is fine. The good thing is that you do have the dual firing speakers, and it's lagging actually on the 17. Oh snap, what the heck? Well, I've never had that happen. Whoa, it's completely lagging. Yeah, I guess it just loaded in wrong, but yeah, gaming on this, not as enjoyable of the experience because of course you don't get that large screen. Things don't feel as immersive, even though the sound is more immersive than the Air. Like, do you prefer sound or do you prefer screen? I personally do prefer screen. And if I had to pick the base 17 or the Air, I would instantly go Air. For me, I would just rather have that phone than this one right here. I think I just love the design too much and everything to not have it. But obviously, battery life is going to be better on the 17. How much better? Maybe like 3 or 4 hours better. And that is quite a significant chunk. However, you can always just put the battery on here whenever you need the battery, or connected at work or connected at home. It's not like you're away from power cables all the time. I definitely think that the least negative here is the battery life on the Air. I think that's perfectly fine right now. But yeah, is it worth the extra $200? Honestly, I think it is. I think it's unique enough, special enough. Apple has made something actually interesting for the first time in a while, in my opinion. And it's fun. It looks premium. It feels premium. Now, is it worth the money to buy in general? No, you're overspending. You're getting better bang for your buck with the iPhone 17. It's the best phone to buy, basically, is the iPhone 17. And even buying the Pro, you're wasting your money compared to the 17 because this does everything the Pro does. Yes, it doesn't have the extra cameras and everything, but you cannot say that that's worth it over the 17. So the 17 is the most worth it for the money, but then depending on your needs and everything, you can make the Air be more worth it, you can make the Pro be more worth it, etc. So yeah, that's the iPhone 17 and iPhone Air. Let me know what you think about them. Hopefully this kind of helps a little bit. I know I kind of mostly just ranted about them, but this type of stuff is what helps me, so that's what I make. Anyway, both fantastic phones. Can't go wrong with either of them. If you want the newest, greatest thing, I would say get the Air. That's, a very unique thing to own for the next couple of years. If you want something that's just dependable, it's going to work, and it's just going to do the thing that you need it to do for a good price, then get the iPhone 17. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.